Hello, my friends, and welcome to day 3 of the Prospect Cup. My name is Bull Skunk alongside Man of Class, and we're going to start off here in the Western Division today as we have the
Yeah.
Dojo taking on Havoc.
Yeah, Dojo and Havoc. The Havoc is a really new team. The Dojo, we know the name longer, but the roster is a bit shaken up, a bit new as well. So they both have had a bit of a rocky start to this Prospect Cup so far. I think they both had a win, and then they both had a 3-0 loss. So it's been so far, an even start. They still have something to prove, and one of these teams will go positive. One of the teams will go negative after the day, which is always something to play for, getting up in those standings or getting knocked down in the standings. Because, of course, it is a group play situation where you play every single team. And the more you win, the better they will often obviously look for you later on in the cup. So going into this match, it will be Oasis first. But when we look at the teams, there's players on them. That's what we know for sure. But Havoc, Velzen and Rocket going be on the DPS, Dunzo, My Big Marv on those tanks, then Kumo and Nerdables on the support. And on the Dojo, we have Berserky, Prodigy on the DPS, and then Economy and Spice on the tanks, and Rami and Nifkins on the support. And Rami, not officially listed on the team sheet, is probably either maybe a sort of a trial or maybe a very new addition that we only hear about today for the first time. So eyes will probably on Rami to see can they actually go in there and do something here.
Well, and like you mentioned, both of these teams coming off of 0-3 defeats there in our
Yeah.
second day. And I'm really hoping and looking to see which team can bounce back. I think it's going to be very indicative of the heart and the motivation on these teams to see how they return fire after those tough losses.
Yeah, and it's always the hallmark of a great team. How far can you go down and still be putting out the performance, still feeling like they actually tried their best and everything came out that needed to come out? Because it's obviously losing a 3-0 is not the worst thing in the world. It can be fine. Sometimes it's a very close match. But if you lose a 3-0 and you feel like you never even got a chance to properly show what you can do, that sometimes is a harsh reality. So I really hope for those teams that even if they lose today, they'll still have that feeling like we put out all we can do and we lost just on merit. And not because we just kept making all mistakes that we shouldn't be making. So starting on Oasis here, very similar compositions. But Spice on the Zarya and My Big Marv on the Sigma, that's a very big difference. And that extra barrier versus the extra damage, that's going to be the real difference maker here.
Well, Havoc looked to be sticking with the sim right out of the gate. Both teams teleporting up to the objective, clashing on the point first. The Dojo with a little bit of a positional advantage as the May walls come up. Economy kind of caught between both of those walls, able to just barely back out, find a little safety. But right now, it's just Dojo putting on the pressure. It's going to be Berserky finding first blood here in this match, taking Rocket down. And they're going to continue to push forward, get progress started here on University.
That's what we call a very simple and not really a fight, to be honest. A lot of what happened off there was built up on the May walls, but the May walls were just better from the side of the Dojo right there. And they're going to be able to take a fairly aggressive position, will back off back to point, because of course they want to use these chokes to get the value out of that May wall.
Indeed, you can see Prodigy just hiding, waiting to throw up that wall. Indeed, perfectly placed, going to devalue Nerdable's amplification matrix, and Nerdables is going to fall. No more immortality field available here for Havoc as they try to push in and recontest. Berserky throwing down some shots from the side as Dojo is going to get aggressive, run Havoc right on out of here.
Yeah, they're going to clean up even more kills here. That's very nice. It's going to give them extra ult charge. They haven't actually had to use any ultimates, either team. I think maybe Nerdables throughout the application matrix. That was about it. We see Rocket swap over to the Reaper now. They really want to get hot and heavy close in there. But the problem is that you have Berserky always on an off angle, and as well Spice on a bit of an off angle all the time. And that's exactly what we've been seeing in the meta lately, with double barrier or not. The off tank and one of the DPS will always be on this crossfire where they can get an angle behind the double shields.
And I think with the Zarya, Dojo have a little bit more. It's going to be difficult for Havoc to push in. Blizzard coming out early from Dojo. As a matter of fact, that freezes up half the team. Como goes down immediately as we have Dragons and Earthshatter ready to go. And Havoc on the back foot once again with 75% on the board and counting.
Yeah, this really seems like one of those situations where you're never given a chance to a good fight if you are Havoc. They had a few quick fights, and by now the point is at 85, and there's no ultimates that have been drawn out.
Well, there's the Earth Shatter coming from Dunzo. That found one, but the follow-up not there. Two people drop for Havoc as they're trying to push on. The Amplification Matrix not enough to overcome the deficit. Not even the Blizzard can save him from this last assault as the Overtime Wick starts to burn. Dojo completely controlling the pace of this match so far.
Dojo, and I'm gonna, this point is basically over, so we're just gonna go ahead and say what actually happened. So, unfortunately for Havoc, they, like I said, they never actually got a proper fight out. They were shut down twice really early, and the fact that Dojo then doesn't have to actually use ultimates, that's what's the detriment there. Because Control is such a short game mode, 120 seconds to get that percentage from 0 to 100. Yeah, you need to drag out ultimates and build some of your own, and they never got into a position where they had even an even fight, not even an advantageous one, but just an even fight ultimate wise. So resources, positioning, and everything was just always in the favor of the Dojo, and then it all snowballed after that first fight and that second fight where they just didn't have to use anything. Now going into Gardens, a very different point. You probably won't see that Brian Zarya anymore, but it will likely be economy on the Wrecking Ball here with Spy still on that Zarya. Apparently just prefers that hero a lot, and it's a very divey composition that they're running, with the Zarya bubbles being potentially used for peeling here.
I think Dojo's going to have to protect that Ana as well. Obviously great for the nano boost onto the Genji, but can be vulnerable to this dive, as Dunzo is going to go look for that back line immediately. Brig trying to help heal for the Grandma, but it is not enough. Havoc starting things off strong in this fight as they clean up half of the opposition. Rocket coming up in the feed to help just shut this down, get first percentage started here for Havoc.
First percentage for Havoc, and of course, you said it. I mean, you kind of made the prediction, right? They have to really appeal for that Ana, and the Winston jumps in from behind, the Genji comes from the front, and they just nerf her down. It's just not enough to just have a Zarya and a Brigitte next to her. No more overheal with that armor, and the bubble, I think that was already used on Economy or on Berserk, your Prodigy for some reason. So yeah, that kind of leaves your Ana quite vulnerable, and she's probably going to be even more so in the next fights.
Havoc looking to take the fight to Jojo. They're not going to wait around. They're going to push in, find 2 kills, but they have lost their Moira. So Havoc needs to clean this up fast, as their sustain is very much lacking here in this fight. Economy coming in, mines at the ready, but the DPS oh so low here for the Dojo, and just not quite able to get that flip. They're going to go ahead and reset here.
Yeah, and they didn't have to be that worried about their Moira being gone, because in that initial dive, they got Rami and Nifkin straight away. No more supports on the side of Team Dojo there. And Team Dojo is now going to come in with some ultimates, and that Nano Blade is getting very close for them as well.
Mines used over the top to start things off. And just need to stall out long enough to get that Nano Blade online. They're going to have to get past Rocket first. Rocket burning down Spice. Prodigy answers back, takes down Marth on the other side. This Tracer, they're doing so much work. Economy goes down as well. No more take standing here for the Dojo. They're not even getting an opportunity to use that Nano Blade in this fight.
No, they really won't, but they didn't even have it online yet. Nifkins now finally has the Nano. Berserky switches over to a Soldier, wants that extra mobility. But it's really one fight. If they don't win this fight, and they have a Sound Barrier and a Blade to fight against, and even a Self-Destruct potentially, then, yeah, they're probably just going to lose the point here. And I feel like Big Marv is just going to try to throw out the Self-Destruct in order to cancel the Nano Blade out, but it's not happening.
Initial Nano Blade canceled by the Sound Barrier. The second blade from the other side, despite being a dry blade, that picks up Rami, takes down the Brig. That's a big source of protection. Now missing for Dojo. And this is swung the other way. We had 100-0 in the first round. Havoc threatening to take 100-0 here in our second round of Oasis.
A complete flip, but also complete positional swaps, of course, so that might have something to do with it. We do here see that Big Marv is going to chase down some kills together with Rocket. Throws out the Self-Destruct as a cherry on top, the destructive one at that. And that will probably be the cleanup here over time, about to take down just a Soldier and an Ana with the Dream. But that Dream will probably not be realized. Hammond tries to come back in here for some extra stall, but you need a little bit more. You start needing to get some kills. I don't think they can actually do that. This will eventually be the takeover, and that's a 1-1 on Oasis, and 200-0, like you pointed out. And when it comes to this, I kind of feel like this should be Havoc's game to win.
Havoc, seemed very comfortable on the dive. We saw it from them a lot in their match on Wednesday. The coordination looking a lot better here today, though. They definitely seem to practice their strategies, practice their timing. And so far, looking strong in that composition, as it looks like they're going to bring us dive again from side of Havoc. Looking at Dojo, not a whole lot of changes there either. Going over to the Tracer Genji here in this attack.
Yeah, the Lucio play instead of the Brigitte.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, we gotta really question that Ana pick because
Yep.
Nifkins and Rami's going back to the Brigitte, but Nifkins was completely diveable. I think you don't even need that much coordination on the side of Havoc to get that going. You don't need that perfect dive. You can just go and kill the Ana. And if you lose someone, you've got their main source of healing. So, you know, it's not as easy to protect her, especially with the overheal being gone, and the Zarya might be able to save a bubble for her, but you don't have enough damage to just kill the things that are diving her together. So might just not be the smartest choice, but they will just go to the high ground fight over here. Nice shield bash from Rami coming out, and Prodigy with a dash, a double dash. Ooh, full stop. Going wild here.
That's the start you want if you are Dojo. Berserky getting into the mix as well. The crazy rotation serving him well, and well, Dojo finding first control on this point. I mean, back to the point on that Ana. I mean, feel it's the second coming of Genji. The Ana is not even really a necessity so far as it seems with this new patch.
It feels like Nanoblade used to be a big deal because sustain was such a big problem, right? But with the ultimate changes, the damage changes, the general changes to certain heroes like Brigitte, and the barrier changes and everything, you can get the value out of the vanilla blade, so to speak. So that Ana is definitely not necessary, and Velzen is going to try and show that right here.
With this fantastic position up on the high ground, Havoc forced to move up to the top and dislodge Dojo before they can move in. Velzen is 85 to that blade. Let's see if that can be the difference maker. Oh, Prodigy finds the kill onto Dunzo. Main tank now absent for Havoc as Dojo has looped around to the bottom, still maintaining control of this point. Oh, a nice boom takes Notables off the side. The rest of Havoc just going to follow him down like lemmings for a reset.
Yeah, of course, the reset has to come in at that point because you're not going to win that fight. And 55% and counting, kind of a bit opposite of what I was expecting. I was expecting that dive from Havoc to do a number on Nifkins once again. But it does seem like there's more nooks and crannies to just run away from, and that Nifkins is too far away to dive in a lot of city situations. And that's what City Center really does to you.
And fortifying that high ground just provides such a positional advantage, which now means Havoc's going to loop around from the other side, provide a little bit of a different look against Dojo, throw Coalescence in and try to make the assault, but Dunzo taken down immediately, runs into a bunch of mines and some great shots from Berserky. Here comes the Genji Blade from Prodigy, slicing and dicing and cleaning up Havoc here. One last chance for Havoc to push in, and they're going to have to rush to get this touch.
And so far, it's been a weird matchup. I feel like Dive nowadays is played a bit differently because you don't play it against Dive that often. It's usually a Dive versus a double barrier. With this, oh, Tech Visor doesn't get the value, just gets shut down by Rocket. And they do trade back and forth here, so Dunzo goes down on the other side, but they need to touch this point. They need to keep touching it.
And they've got to get room for Velzen to get this katana out of its sheath. Here it comes. The Dragon Blade. Oh, it's the Graviton Surge to shut it down. Velzen can't cut anything if he can't move. But, you know, Spice answering back, or Rocket and Kumo answering back. See it if they can keep Havoc in this thing. Dunzo's going to charge in, has Primal Rage at the ready, able to take Spice out of the fight. And it looks like in the twilight hour, Havoc finding the will to keep this team alive.
Yeah, very nicely done. And I was just pointing it out to before where you're looking like, oh yeah, the dive style has sort of changed over time and it's now very different. These teams are almost playing dive like it used to be in the past, which is odd because that's not really how it should be played anymore, but they're getting away with it. A lot of ultimates align at least for the now defending Havoc, and they should be winning at least one fight, maybe two, on the back of those.
Very coordinated dive coming in as the entirety of Havoc just pours onto the Dojo as they come out of that small choke. They're able to find Berserky, and they're going to kind of fall back, rebuild some cooldowns here, put some pressure onto Economy, who is a little out of position. Now Dunzo is going to drop that Primal Rage, challenge the high ground, as the Brig was going up there trying to pill for Nifkins, but she's able to escape for the meantime. Oh, Spice not so lucky. Gets just booted off into the Oblivion. Rocket landed the Pulse Bomb, and Nifkins not long for this world as she heads back to spawn. Havoc maintaining control here with 50%.
Sad Ana cannot stay alive there in the end. But Spice going off the cliff there, that was the big one, of course. Ooh, this might be a wrong move from My Big Marv here. Just suicides into those cars. And now the attack will come back in here for the Dojo, and there won't be a Diva yet.
Oh, we're going to get Rally with Attack Visor. The extra armor will make Prodigy's Blade that much more impactful as well. 2 kills coming through from Berserky with a nice set of Helix Rockets to help cap that off. A heck of a start for Dojo. They just need one last fight win to take this map. Prodigy still with that blade ready to go to help with the exclamation point. The nail in the coffin, if you would, on this point. But they're going to flip it first. Here comes the blade. Nifkin's getting into the mix as well, taking out Nerdimals without that sustain. It should just be clean up from here for the Dojo.
He saw that mind, right? He was waiting for the Lucio to either die or use that barrier. Eventually gets the kill on the Kumo, so can just pull the blade out of the sheath. Now we're gonna see the barrier come out late, but I think only gets themselves really. So Kumo just going for that stall. Will not be able to get much there, just a little bit of time, and that Wrecking Ball will probably not be long for this world. This point's gonna get cleaned up, and it looks like it's gonna be the Dojo finishing it off, but there's potential for some more kills. They're still going to the point.
Yeah, it's going to take a heck of a Herculean effort here for Havoc to try to push this thing back as one by one Dojo cleans up point, and they will take Oasis and a 1-0 lead here in our match.
Yeah, it was a very dominant point A, then a very dominant point B in the other way, and then a very close one on point C in the end, where they almost run it back to 99. But that's kind of how City Center usually goes, right? You have one team that holds it to 99, and they finally get popped on the objective, and then the other team holds it to 99, and then they get finally popped on the objective. But yeah, Oasis, it was an interesting start, I must say. So I think potentially when we go for the more heavy, brawly, tanky matchup, there might be an edge there for the Dojo, because they were looking good on that, and there was not that much answer coming out from Havoc in that respect. But a lot of it, I felt also just on both sides, both from the dive map and then so from University and from Gardens, I felt a lot of that had to do with the mechanical control, where the other team couldn't find answers fast enough because they didn't have the time or the resources or the time to build up the resources, or to really make swaps that would have been more effective. So going into the next map here, I'm probably thinking that there will be a very different change of how these teams play and how their execution actually comes to fruition. Because the chaos of control can do that to you, where you have a nice team comp, but then you can't switch enough, and then so I'm thinking that we'll see a change there, and we might also see the Spice Zarya, if that keeps on progressing, keeps on being a thing, that might not get the value that it did on control, because it's not as much of a surprise factor. And when there's more time going around, usually a hero like Sigma or a hero like Diva will get more consistent value in what they do, and Zarya really needs to get that charge, needs to get the red bubbles off, and it's way harder to get that consistent and high pressure value. On the other hand, I'm liking to see it. I don't mind Spice on the Zarya. Zarya is a very cool hero, very fun hero. Of course, it's got that new skin that we're unfortunately not seeing here, but you can get it in the game, and yeah, can do a lot of damage, of course, if she gets the charge and if she gets the damage off as Zarya does.
Well, and Havoc, they seem to really thrive in the chaos. That's when they looked good, was when they were able to do a little divide and conquer, and then pounce on the individual targets, take advantage of the separation. So I worry as we head into more objective and payload oriented maps, if they're going to be able to cause that same level of disruption. Definitely favoring the dive composition, or if Spice on the Zarya and perhaps accompanied by a little bit more of a brawly comp. I mean, that might serve Dojo well here as we continue through the series.
It might, definitely might, and it's a good chance it will. And I do also think that the value of Ana, for instance, goes up drastically when the map is more stretched out. She has further possibilities to be further back in a positioning, both on the defense and on the offense. And if you can set your own rhythm, playing against the dive and playing with a dive, it's a very different dynamic rather than when you're playing around the same objective as the enemy. So going into Hollywood here, we've seen dive work very well on especially Streets Phase. Streets Phase, of course, when you have the big high grounds, the saloon and the bank. But there's also a very high possibility that you can just play the brawl, play the double barrier, and just sustain through it. And Baptiste is very instrumental to that, I feel like. I think if you're going to play that double barrier and you don't play the Baptiste, I wouldn't say you're throwing. That's not a word I will use. But it does seem like the Baptiste is sort of a staple in that composition, and that really makes everything happen by canceling so much out and sustaining so much with that immortality field, especially.
And, maybe you're not throwing, but perhaps making life harder on yourself than it needs to be.
Maybe.
Well, this is Havoc's map pick. Is in this first to 3 series, we do have loser pick. So Havoc choosing Hollywood, hoping that high ground that you're referring to, especially in Westworld, the second portion of this map, will benefit them in that dive composition. I'm honestly kind of surprised we're not seeing more D.Va here with those buffs that she received recently. Going up against the Ana from Niffikins, that defense matrix can provide so much value.
It really can. And I'm also, I've talked about it before where I'm saying like Spice on the Zarya is an interesting choice because you don't see that often. Like if you're a true Zarya specialist, you can get a lot of value out of that. And it does seem like Spice is just that type of player where they've played so much Zarya that it's just on such a whole other level than their other heroes that I'm really expecting that to just carry on throughout the series. So it will really be up to Havoc to try and just figure out like, okay, so you've got, a Zarya, okay, well, let's counter it,
Well, they're keeping the Zarya up on the high ground as Economy moves in to put pressure. Definitely behaving as the main tank. You're creating that space for Havoc, and so far doing a good job of keeping the attackers at bay.
Now we will see a double barrier now come out from Havoc here, and we kind of figure that they might have gone with a dive here. But on first point, the double shield is very nice. You can just get in without taking too much damage. I definitely do get that. But it's on second when you might see them swap over if they don't have like 50 ultimates ready.
Well, Havoc once again just trying to just muscle this thing right through the main choke. We had Sigma moving up to the high ground, trying to put pressure on Spice and Niffikins are sitting up there, but he's run right back off. Rocket does find Economy, and that's a good start. Perhaps an opening, and slowly but surely, Havoc's going to push forward. Throw down their amplification matrix and scare Dojo right off the point as they're forced to kite back. Oh, Rami trying to push back into contest and just eats a hail of bullets right through that double damage. The Mortality Field used to keep that back line alive while Nightmare and Dunzo are pushing in, claiming this objective. Still got to battle through a few remaining members of the defense. Spice and Berserky striking back, but I don't know if it's going to be enough to maintain.
Doesn't look like it. It will just be the Ana now left. And Niffikins do get... She does get away with her life there. It's interesting that they didn't chase that down on the Genji there, that Rocket. But, they got the points. And we did see the Nano come out on the Prodigy there. But Prodigy apparently maybe like stunned out or something. I thought like, no, I'm not going to pull out the blade. I'm not ready for it. Immortality Field was also already there for Nerdables. Maybe they just actually used the Nano to try and force the Immortality Field out as like a fake out. Like, I'm going to use Blade, but I'm not. And then they wanted to Blade after. But unfortunately, there was never a chance to use it after because the fight was essentially already over.
Bob coming out early from the defense. And with that discipline, Prodigy still holding on to that Genji Blade. It could be the fight turner here. But we're going to get the Gravitic Flux coming through from the offense to try to initiate this fight. Supercharger thrown down as well. But there's mines all over the cart. They got to be really careful pushing forward. Trade's coming through onto both supports. Prodigy goes down just as he pulls the katana out. He completely loses the value of that ultimate. Now Spice caught in a weird position. Bob in there to help take it down. The seventh man being just what Dojo needed, or just what Havoc needed, excuse me, to keep this cart moving.
Yeah, Havoc so far having a pretty good attack. They took like 1.5 fights on A, and they've taken 1.5 fights on B so far. So they'll be in a great position to just keep this rolling for a bit. They will be falling down in ultimates a little bit now because there will be a tank ultimate and 2 support ultimates online soon for the defense, and there's Dorelli already out.
Yeah, it was an expensive fight for the attackers, no doubt. Graviton Surge and combined with that rally. Well, only 1 kill yielded between both ults. Of course, a little bit of that armor is still available, and now Economy going in, trying to initiate this second portion of the defense. Roku striking back, able to get the dash through Economy, take down the Wrecking Ball. But Rocket's very low. Here comes a Nano Boost onto Prodigy to help build up towards the rest of that Blade, but he's not quite there yet. He's going to get rocked, forced back, and does not get a whole lot of value out of the Nano. A good kite and push back, good counterpunch coming through from Dojo as My Big Marv finds a pair of kills, but the tank line very low right now. They're going to have to back out, find some heals.
I really do think that Havoc is doing a very good job of backing off and just retreating as a group and, being ready for that sustained play. Nice deflect to deflect the coach gun away. That's always like to see those type of things, but there's the Bob, and that's probably going to do quite a bit of work in the backline there.
Dojo swapping over to the Doomfist from Prodigy as the point approaches the final stretch here in Westworld. Rocket's going to pull out the Blade, dives in, Spice goes down immediately. Turning around, trying to find more, but there's none to be had. 2 kills coming through from both sides, 4v4 on the cart. Dojo out of ultimates here. There's a rally already on the field. Supercharger out as well here for Havoc as they look to finish off point B. 2 kills from Rocket in that endeavor.
They should be able to finish this one off as well. You know, they can really touch from spawn. They might try with the graph. No, they don't have it yet. This will be this will be a rally defense. Actually, they might have to sustain to get this going.
Well, they're trying, but Rocket has other plans in mind as he's able to take down the One-Punch King and Doomfist. Oh, but health bars are looking a little weary here as Nerdables finds a pair of kills through the Amp Matrix. And Havoc, well, they're pushing through here quite well. Dojo starting to fall apart in the back end of point B.
A lot of stall coming out here, though. Way more than they maybe would have bargained for, even on the defense.
Yes, sir.
Maybe they ever really had a fantasy to really win this one, but yeah, they definitely stalled for a good 30 seconds, I think, actually. It was a long stall there. Now, they will be in a relatively even ult situation. There's maybe a tad more going on the side of Havoc, so they could potentially push through hard. But if they rotate their ultimates correctly on the defense, that shouldn't be that big of a problem. We saw it before where Spice used the Gravitic Flux just to deny the blade value. And that's not a hard thing to do, or not a weird thing to do. Just deny one ultimate with another one.
We're going to get mines out from the defense. We had Havoc throwing in the bomb, trying to start things off. Rally used as well early in this fight to initiate, but Dojo putting the pressure on, chasing Havoc all the way back out to the jail. Prodigy pays for his aggression, and now the counterpunch back. Here comes Rocket, pulling out the Dragon Blade, going in deep. He's going to find Berserky with it. Spice bubbles up for a moment. We'll see if they can survive. No, with a little help from the Wrecking Ball. Rocket able to play it up, and now... well, Havoc has their sights set on the very back of this point.
Yeah, they really want to get it there, of course. They don't have that much time left. You would think, okay, they've lost maybe like 2 or 3 fights. Why do they have so little time left out of 8 minutes? And the answer really is that they've been playing relatively reactively. They haven't really made a lot of initiations. They're sort of waiting for Dojo to make a move. And there is the move once again being made by Dojo.
Yeah, definitely trying to counterpunch back. Graviton Surge, as a matter of fact, as Dojo continues their aggression on the back of point C here. Amplification Matrix used from Nerdables. Try to execute that counterpunch, but doesn't look like they're getting a whole lot of value out of it. Dojo able to just move out of the way, fall back into cover. Economy is going to take down Big Marv as he tries to get things started. Prodigy falling into the back line, takes Kumo out of the fight. Berserky following up with a nice shot. Looking to take down the Genji as well. Does in the end with a little hope from that big Omnic Butler.
Yeah, once again, you know, like this time the Dojo did actually move in, but it does look like the Dojo actually seems to start realizing that they aren't really being initiated on that much. So they could potentially just stand back and take it and just keep poking out for another 20 seconds, and then they'll have, well, defended before third. One last fight, and the ultimates are definitely there for both sides.
Havoc throw down Supercharger. We're going to get Meteor Strike and Mines in response. The Nano Boost goes on to Prodigy as he goes into the back line, just jabbing and throwing right hooks all the way through. Havoc finds the Orisa, finds the Ash. Now try to turn the attention to the DPS, but he faces Rocket, who gets the better of that deal. Now has the Blade online, trying to take out the Brig, but no such luck. That's a difficult target for you to take down, Rocket. And the Shield Bash, well, it's still a strong still a strong ability. Brig, still a strong hero after all the nerfs. Reinhardt switch coming from Dunzo, trying to come in and get that close quarters battle as the overtime wick is a burn, and one last chance here for Havoc to make something happen on Hollywood. Prodigy pushing in is going to take down the Doomfist on the other side. Nerdables answers back, takes down Prodigy. No more Doomfist with the Amplification Matrix out. Havoc looking for the edge, but once again, Dojo doing a great job of just avoiding this damage and then striking back and finding 3 kills on the board, driving them off the point.
A very nice hold there for Team Dojo, to the Dojo in the end. And yeah, they did take a little while to get their defense going, but on third, there was just no chance anymore for Team Havoc to really get in there and get that last point. The payload actually never even got to the gate, maybe just about to that gate.
Yeah, about halfway through.
Okay, halfway through. It's not too bad, but usually you do see the card getting at least a little bit further for that third point, so that's a bit of a shame. But then again, Hollywood a very holdable map. We don't often see teams complete this map, always at least. And there's a lot of good phases on this map as well, where you can make very interesting holds. And we could see a defensive dive come out as well. It's definitely possible they pull something like that out. It does look like on point A, at least, they want to go for this double barrier setup again with Velzen on the Ashe, Rocket on the Tracer. And with the extra spam you can do, and then still with the off angles you can take with that Sigma and the Tracer and the Ashe, I think that's a nice choice. I think they're hard to pick apart, so to speak, with what they're running right now.
Well, in an effort to try to do just that, the Dojo going over, well, sticking with this Wrecking Ball Zarya composition as they go on to the attack. Also bringing out the Ashe, coming back with the Genji this time. So, and then we have Nifkins sticking on that Ana yet again. I don't know if this is just a comfort pick, but I mean, so far it's working for him, despite despite how it may look. Yeah,
it's not significance on the Ana. It's also, like we said, you know, Spice on the Zarya, Prodigy on the Genji. Like, they have been fairly one-trickish, so to speak. Not that the defense hasn't, but they haven't been as much. I do think they have made more swaps and been more variable in that sense. So we will see Rocket now on the backline of the Tracer, and they're gonna try and go for that assassination.
This guy decides sets on Berserker right now. Berserker with a nice coach gun, and Prodigy there to help out the Southern Belle take down Rocket. Early advantage here for Dojo as they try to push in. Prodigy just kind of waiting in server room, waiting for Economy to initiate this fight. And Economy's going to drop down, forcing Havoc all the way back into the cafe. And here comes the rest of Dojo putting that pressure on as they start to do the surround and collapse into that area. Rocket answers back, making it back into the fight in time to take down Economy, but a massive anti-nade into Havoc. 4 of them purple, no heals available, and Kumo is going to fall. Perhaps the biggest defense against Prodigy on this Genji, now missing. The rest of the team struggling for answers after that Brig goes down.
Yeah, relatively similar time bank is going to be here when they finally cap this point, and yeah, that Ana from Nifkins finally doing a lot of work there. Got a beautiful anti-nade. And if you're going to play that Ana, you need to get good anti-nades. You need to get value out of your nanos. Otherwise, and even the sleep darts as well, you know, those 3 things really need to get a lot of value. Otherwise, you really got to question whether that Ana is worth it. And so far, it was a bit of a push and pull argument still. We weren't really sure, but if you're going to keep hitting anti-nades like that, Nifkins, then you're all too welcome to play Ana. So kind of same thing with Spice, right? If you want to play that Zarya, great, but you got to get that damage and the charge value, otherwise, and the bubbles, you know, otherwise there's not really a point in running the Zarya.
Yes, sir. Well, Nefkin's done enough work to get that nano, like you said, now Blade ready to go. Spice not too far behind with the Graviton Surge. So plenty of tools here in the chest for Dojo to take this thing all the way into point C, as they're taking a very aggressive posturing. And I like the scattered approach as well. They're looking to surround this defense yet again. Nano Blade coming out early. That's going to be 2 kills. Make that 3 kills immediately. Prodigy's not done. Follows it up with a great kill onto Dunzo. The Orisa gone. And man, that was a swift and clean execution on that assault.
Yeah, this was Havoc's map pick as well. They're now already with, I think it's going to be 5.5 minutes going into point C. And that's a tough ask, especially if you're going to get staggered into your spawn here. They have the graph ready. This might be a big one if they throw it out, and they do.
It wasn't just big. That was downright filthy. The huge ante into the pack. Economy and Spies, they're just burning down the opposition. Oh, man, that was beautiful.
There's a few maps where you have those spawns so far forward that are so easy to then spawn camp for the attack. Yeah, you don't have Watchpoint Gibraltar, but this might even be an easier one to do it on, because look how close those doors are to that spawn door. It's almost impossible, and then there's quite a corner you have to get around. So, yeah, heads up play to just go in there aggressively with that Graviton, and again, they're making the moves, and it's Havoc that's kind of playing passively. They're sort of waiting what's going to happen and trying to react to that, but it's not working out for them.
Rocket coming off the Genji onto the McCree to try to have an answer. Immediately takes down Spice. Economy falls early as well, but he's able to get the mines out. At least provide a little bit of zoning on the point. They get rid of the immortality field. I'm not sure it's going to be enough here. Prodigy able to take down Velzen, but Rami falls. So, a little bit of sustain now gone. Perhaps a reset's in order, but Berserky looking to carry this thing home as he throws the bomb out. Here comes the Genji Blade. Dojo not taking their foot off the gas in the slightest, and, well, they're going to find great results with that aggression. 4 kills there, 2 apiece for the DPS, and that's a lightning-fast time here on Hollywood. Dojo going up 2-0.
Yeah, that's what we call a quick map 2, and going to map 3, there's really a lot you have to start doing here if you are Havoc to change this, because they had one good round on the control, and now they had a okay attack on Hollywood. but they need so much more. They really need to figure out a way to make that Ana and that Zarya feel like they're not getting their value, because the gravitons and the raw damage output from the Zarya have been great. The Ana has been doing a lot of healing and has been getting value out of her abilities, both the sleep dart and the anti grenade, so the biotic grenade. But the problem is there that they're not necessarily the heroes that you would typically see in the highest tier meta right now, which is sometimes because people are just too stubborn and think like, oh, they play it and it worked against us in scrim, so now we're also going to play it. But I also feel like there's plenty to take advantage of on the side of the dojo that you could run and you could get away with, but they might just not have it in them to pull that out. Going on to the next one, which is going to be Havana. Maybe we'll see some more long range things happen where the Zarya doesn't get that much say in what she's doing, because the further away you are from Zarya, the less she can do to you. She can maybe try and hit some mortar right clicks like far away, but those energy grenades are usually not as easy to hit. So maybe we'll see actually a Widowmaker come out. Maybe an Ashe Tracer combination that does their work to stay a little bit away. But so far, it has been all the dojo, and it's been very hard for Havoc to get anything going for themselves.
Well, the way Berserky's Ashe has been looking so far between these matches, I actually worry for Havoc going into this. I think Dojo may have the long range advantage here. Berserky was popping off there in Hollywood.
Yeah, I mean, it could be, right? But I do think that in Havana's case, there's, especially on first and even to a degree on third, there is a degree of linear approach there that is not present on Hollywood. I think on Hollywood, it's way easier to get these off angles as Ashe. So that's why Berserky got a lot of value. And if you're going to run that double barrier on Havoc's side, if you're going to play that range game, and if the dojo keeps running with that either single barrier or no barrier lineup with the Spice Zarya, then you could take advantage of that. And even if you don't win the Ashe duel necessarily, you'll win the overall we do more damage to you because we have more shields battle. So that's kind of my thing, where I think Havoc could potentially win it based on that, whole
I'll be very surprised if Dojo comes
dynamic,
out with the Wrecking Ball Zarya again.
Maybe Ryan Zarya, but I do feel now that we've seen Spice play the Zarya twice. I feel like they might spill it out again. And the thing is, no matter what other tank you put with it, you're gonna have that range advantage because you'll have two barriers and they won't. So that is, like, again, that's why I think you could potentially exploit that. They just haven't been able to. But something else that's going on, Bull Skunk. I don't know if you want to do the honors, if you want me to do it.
Oh, no, it's I got it. This is not the only tournament going on right now here from Elo Hell Esports, as we have the Get Good in a Fight for Redemption going on. If you're looking for that tournament, that is over on Twitch TV/EHE_Overwatch. So you've got the Fight for Redemption going on there. Teams with the last ditch effort to try to make it into the Get Good playoffs. So a lot of exciting Overwatch action going on today. It's awesome. I'm enjoying it.
And again, if you tuned in here to find that, it's not on this channel. It's on EHE_Overwatch. So just go find it. Might actually be a link below in the panels. I'm not even sure. But there will definitely be where those games are being streamed. So don't make sure you go there if you were looking for that action. We're just going to continue here with map 3 between Team Havoc and the Dojo. Team Havoc really needed to step it up a little bit in order to get a map win back and maybe go for the reverse sweep.
Yeah,
looking at these team lineups.
Yep.
I was really hoping that we were gonna go for a potentially a Bastion setup. It's probably still going for that Genji, and well, yeah, they're doing the same thing again. Bull Skunk. They're going for that Wrecking Ball Zarya. They're going for the Ana Genji Ashe, and then Rami on the Brigitte. So they're going for the "it ain't broke, so don't fix it" mentality. It seems like, and I'm not necessarily saying that I don't mind it.
I don't mind it in the slightest here.
Yeah.
This is an interesting game. I like the aggressive posturing Dojo is showing us as well. Just trying to make that stand right in front of the pumps here. Economy just rolling around, keeping the offense in check here so far. I think teams just rotating around each other like prize fighters, sizing each other up.
Yeah, and unfortunately, you had that going on where the Zarya needs to be closer to get the value, and that's exactly why they're going aggressive. It's also an Havana thing. Hold them in spawn so you get an extra fight later on. But yeah, they're posting very aggressively, and they're able to sustain through this until Economy finally goes down. But a beautiful anti-nade from Nifikin.
Yeah, the anti-nade was huge, mana class. That was gnarly, and Dunzo falls. That's going to be a reset coming through there from Havoc.
I feel like Havoc can sort of just keep on fighting because as soon as they get a kill, they're going to have a longer advantage there.
Right.
So they do like a soft reset. They're already coming out of the gate. Economy isn't quite back yet. Oh, never mind. There's Economy. It's a Wrecking Ball. Of course, they're back already. But Vitalyfield doing nothing there, though.
The amplification matrix just having Zill effect. Prodigy is going to pull out that blade now. The Nano already ready to go. Prodigy coming up with a big 3K in that fight. And, well, Dojo so far indomitable on this defense.
I'm surprised they actually got 0.45 meters. Maybe that will come handy later, but I think 0.45 meters is going to make the difference here. Looks like they're just going to try and style on them over here. They figured out what Havoc cannot deal with, and they're using their composition to its fullest. I mean, why would you split push here? They could have done a dive and dunk on you. They have the mobility, they have the damage, and it's just killing you every single time. They went out 2 different doors. And that's not what you want to do here. Just head on, go into them. You have the double barrier. You should be winning this.
Absolutely, especially with the McCree. Yeah, you should have the ability to shut down this dive. No. Oh my goodness, Berserky with the flank angle, getting clever on him, throwing the big Omnic Butler down. And man, Havoc struggling to find even a pick here. I think they've had 1 kill so far in 2 minutes. Yeah,
they got the kill in Economy, and then Economy just came rolling back as Hamster does. But that was a true situation of check your corners. You know, apparently these guys haven't switched to Valorant because checking your corners is very important there. But it's also in Overwatch and showing that up there. And they just keep spawn holding them with an ultimate. That's now the Graviton. They just keep getting the kills with the slam and the boop and the everything. I don't even know what to say anymore. It's not okay.
Oh my goodness, Prodigy with another Genji blade coming out. My Big Marv tried to throw in a Gravitic Flux, got nothing. Rocket tried to throw in the Deadeye, got shut down immediately. Didn't even have time to pull the trigger. And still, just the 1 elimination on the side of Havoc.
It feels like the car dealership type of thing, right? Where they're saying, your car isn't fixed yet, come back later. And they keep coming back, but their car is just not fixed yet. And they're going to keep back working on it.
Havoc able to use the supercharger to find Economy and a white man advantage here. Let's see if this is the ticket to finally get out of the gas pumps. Good Hawk able to take down Prodigy as well, but it took a lot here from Havoc using both of their damage ultimates just to get out of the door and a swap them through onto the Hog to make that happen. Now the Nanos be used onto Spice with the bop thrown in. And Dojo, they're not done. They don't want to give up this aggressive hold, not in the slightest. As they continue to rack up kills, Berserky, just a monster on this Ashe.
And they keep playing this tank tag team game where it's either Economy that just goes in, gets that bubbles, able to distract for way too long without dying. And even when Economy dies, there's still Spice that's able to be healed up and tag team out. There's a lot of damage at that point, a lot of charge. So it's still a force to be reckoned with. So that nature where they're just going 1 by 1 is so nice. Now they throw the mines with the Graviton Surge.
Oh man, what a combo.
No.
Oh, this is just
looking devastating.
Yeah, this is just looking disastrous. Rami getting the final blow there with the whip flail. Oh man, mace to the face. Newsflash, Brig is still a good character.
The explosive surge there with the mines and the Graviton and 0.82 meters. At least they almost doubled what they had at some point was 0.45, but 0.82 meters is not really a number that you're going to be impressed with. This is going to be a monumental spawn hold. And if that card doesn't move at all or moves less than 0.82 meters, they can still win the map. And you know what they say, less than 0.82 meters in a dream, but sometimes dreams don't come true. So boys and girls, you know, ask your parents what happened in the Great War of 2020 when Havoc played Team Dojo and did their dream come true. And they'll be able to tell you, you know, where you're not watching. So we were here, Bullskunk. We were here.
We were here. We were here. I think we've got some graffiti sprayed on the wall somewhere. It says we were here. I'll have to go find that. Yeah. Well, Havoc coming out. They're gonna bring The Ana, their own this time around to accompany this Reinhardt Sigma composition. Rocket and Velzen sticking with the Torb and McCree, respectively.
Yeah, sure. I mean, why not?
Yeah.
Use Kumo on the Mercy, definitely, so you can have that res, so you have at least a little bit of that numbers spawn advantage diminished. But I really don't see how they can hold on for point 80. I mean, we just saw how you can do it. But Spice is going to go with the Winston. They're going to try and pull them apart and push them away from that card with potentially a Primal, because it only needs to move so much. And if you get two Primals in 4 minutes, you'll probably be fine. Spice, however, will find that Shuriken early.
Berserky answering back, though, when that res you're talking about, well, it is long gone. Rocket trying to see if he can get a little revenge kill there, but no such luck. Prodigy dealing with the turret, now dealing with the McCree. Another dash reset. Oh, maybe this dash reset was just on cooldown, and that was a lightning fast series. Dojo taking it as clean as could be in a 3-0 sweep.
And it looked relatively promising on Oasis, but it just goes to show Oasis, it's a control map, it's chaos, there's circumstances going on there that are beyond just normal strategy. And then as soon as they get to a map where you have to have even the slightest thinking about how do we play as a team, what's our composition like, how do we adapt, how do we change things, how do we manage our economy in the long term, it all just falls apart for Havoc. And that just shows, they're a very new roster. And
Right.
that's, of course, they can only go up from here. Not that we're that terrible, don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to put them down too much, but that's got to be a very hard loss to deal with, because there are so many things that happen in a situation like that where like we can work on this and this and this and this and this, and then those are the hardest ones, because then you don't really know where the problem was, and
Correct.
the only thing you can say, let's work on our fundamentals. So that's definitely the advice I have for Havoc. If you're gonna do anything, just work on those fundamentals, because I don't think their compositions were never necessarily the problem. I don't think their players mechanically were never necessarily the problem. I think if you look at a composition like that, where you just need the experience as a team to say, they're running something we don't actually scrim or deal with often the time. What is their goal? Like, what do they want to do with these heroes? And how do we stop them from doing that with those heroes?
And
And
furthermore,
unfortunately, that wasn't the day today for them.
I mean, what is the weakness to what
Yeah.
they're showing us? Where is the weak
Yeah.
spot in their armor? And I think it was the Ana all day long. We
Mhm.
saw it very early on Oasis. We saw coordinated attacks coming out of Havoc. They were able
Yeah.
to take out Nifikins early, and those were the fights that Havoc won. They didn't. They
Yeah.
failed to do that for those final 2 maps. In the end, Dojo moving on to 2-1. Havoc falling to 1-2. But we're not done yet here today, folks.
Oh,
We're going to
no.
be back in the Eastern Division as we have Cryx taking on Dogs Noodles. When we return here in just a few moments, y'all don't go anywhere.
No, and if you want to have anywhere else to watch, there's still a good going on EHE_Overwatch. So don't forget to check that out in action for a little bit of a break if you're not satisfied with having a break without any Overwatch. So we'll see you on the other side.